Well, it's finally happened. Nintendo has killed Mario. Obviously, all Nintendo actually did is stop selling Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and by the looks of it, this whole limited release plan really worked out well for them, as within the past couple of weeks, 3D All-Stars has shot up to the top of the eShop, and sales have even spiked 276% within the last couple of days. It's clear that this whole limited release strategy actually worked for Nintendo, as the game sold incredible for just a collection of 3 older titles. So despite all the fan outcry and videos about how it's anti-consumer, clearly this strategy worked. But as the game is now officially delisted, and as of right now there's no other way to purchase these titles on Switch, I wanted to take a second and say why this is such a bad idea from Nintendo. Not from a game preservation standpoint, and not really from an anti-consumer standpoint. I honestly think if Nintendo kept this game up and supported 3D All-Stars with updates, it could be one of the Switch's best-selling games ever. Now, how do you support a collection of ports with updates? And how would these updates increase sales by so much? Let's get right into that after a word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Fixture Gaming and their new product, the Fixture S1. Let's be honest, we've all used the Switch in handheld mode at least once. However, unfortunately, I don't really like to play this way because the Joy-Con are just not comfortable. However, the Switch Pro controller is phenomenal. It rectifies all those issues and is probably the best controller I've ever used. Now there's a way to use your Switch Pro controller on the go with the Fixture S1. The S1 mounts onto the Pro controller and uses the guardrails to slide into where the Joy-Cons would fit on the Switch console itself. Then with its 2-axis system and its sturdy metal friction hinges, you can adjust it exactly to how you want. It's super easy to find a sweet spot where it's not pulling in one direction or another, and honestly, it's just super comfortable. You can tell that this thing was made by Switch fans for Switch fans, even including a little slot so you can charge your Pro controller while playing. On top of that, you can get the carrying case, which makes the setup ultra portable. So now there's truly no going back to the default handheld setup. I'm not joking when I say the Fixture S1 has made me want to use my Switch in handheld mode again. You can get $5 off using the link in the description, and thank you Fixture for sponsoring this video. So funny enough, I actually got this idea when looking at Hitman 3. Not the most similar games, but hear me out. I don't know much about Hitman, but I was super interested in picking up 3 because IO Games is positioning Hitman 3 as more of a platform rather than one title. All locations from Hitman 1 and 2 can be imported over and played within Hitman 3. This idea was super interesting to me, as it took Hitman 3 and kind of became this museum of the entire franchise. Now naturally, that's extremely different from 3D All-Stars, but on the surface there are similarities. 3D All-Stars kind of acts as a museum of 3D Mario's history. However, the most exciting part about this comparison is that since the older levels of Hitman are now in Hitman 3, theoretically the developers could add brand new challenges into these older titles. It's clear Nintendo is not going to update 3D All-Stars. They're not going to sell DLC for it or give it constant support, because why would they do that for a game that literally is not being sold anymore? It makes zero sense for Nintendo. But if Nintendo kept selling 3D All-Stars and instead of positioning it as a one-time celebration, showcased 3D All-Stars as more of a platform to now play all of your favorite old 3D Mario games, and then provided constant updates and stuff, man, that could be phenomenal. Think of things like weekly leaderboards and challenges. Remember Koopa freerunning from Odyssey? That wouldn't be that hard to implement into the older titles. Maybe on the menu of 3D All-Stars, past all those lovely soundtracks, you had a racing mode. Then every week you would get a selection of one of 3 games, naturally being 64 Sunshine and Galaxy, and in each one of those games you'd get a various level that you'd have to complete. They wouldn't even have to make new levels. They could just take the older levels, such as Gusty Garden Galaxy or Womp's Fortress, slap a leaderboard on there and call it a day. Now just make like 20 of those for each game, set them to randomly recycle each week, along with a reshuffling weekly leaderboard, and this one-time celebration of 3D Mario is now positioned as the platform to play all your older 3D Mario games. Hell, this gets into crazy territory, but they could even add in new content to these older games. Super Mario 64 already has unused levels that they made for the DS version that they could remake in the base version of 64, and it's long been documented that Super Mario Sunshine had a really rushed development cycle with many cut levels, so maybe take some of that older concept art, make a couple of smaller levels, and put them in. They could even charge for this DLC too. By pulling Super Mario 3D All-Stars from store shelves and no longer selling the game, Nintendo made a lot of money in the short term, but they essentially barred themselves from making any money down the line. It's now essentially impossible for them to do these updates if they wanted to, because once again, why would they update a game that they're no longer selling? If I'm being honest, it's a really not like Nintendo move. It seems more like something you'd see from Ubisoft or EA, because no matter how you slice it, this is an incredibly short-sighted decision. Again, sure, you're boosting sales for like the month of March or in the short term, but from now on, Nintendo will make $0 from this collection of ports. If they kept the game around but didn't make any updates like I said in this video, then yeah, maybe overall they wouldn't have made as much money because people wouldn't buy it for like FOMO, but if they added in that leaderboard system or maybe even the DLC I mentioned earlier, it's no question that this game would have made far more money than it made already. Again, it's just a very short-sighted decision, one I'm not used to seeing from Nintendo, who's generally always thinking long term. Anyway, to sum it up, Super Mario 3D All-Stars sold incredibly well. I have no doubt Nintendo is happy with how this game did overall, and they have every right to be so, as the game is essentially just a port of 3 older titles and it sold like 8 million units or something ridiculous. All I'm saying is that I guarantee if they position this more so as a platform to play your older 3D Marios on, kinda like a one-time payment virtual console, except exclusively for 3D Mario, rather than just a fun little celebration thing that'll be disappearing soon, and they added in those leaderboards and challenges and little extra remix things that wouldn't take that much development time, then I guarantee you this game would have sold more. Especially considering Nintendo is still planning on supporting the Switch for another like 4 or so years. I don't know, that's my final thoughts on Super Mario 3D All-Stars and this whole limited release debacle. The game is officially delisted, or at least will be within the next like 24 hours, so let me know what you guys think about this whole thing down in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new, and once again, thank you so much Fixture for sponsoring this video. I legitimately do use their product every time I play in handheld mode now. It's just way more comfortable to me than the Joy-Cons. So if you don't really like the Joy-Cons in handheld mode either, definitely pick one of these up. Subscribe if you're new, and thank you all for watching.